We are in England, innit? Welcome back to another vlog. I'm here on my second solo trip. Honestly, I didn't really feel like doing this time because I feel like it could be some work, and who knows, maybe walking around London with a phone held up to my face might not be a good idea if I'm trying to keep it, but I decided to do it anyway. And honestly, already, I had quite the stressful travel day because we were right on the tarmac, about to take off, and some guy wouldn't put a seatbelt on. And so we had to taxi all the way back. The police had to cuff him up, get on the plane, then they had to refuel, and they had to do anything, it doesn't matter, but that added a few hours to the journey. But here I am. But anyway, right now I'm actually in a town called Bath, which is named after the Roman baths that were built here when the Romans built this little town. So I'm gonna check that out if I can, but honestly not gonna be here too much because I'm going on a tour all of tomorrow in the countryside, the Cotswolds, is what they're called, of England, which I'm pretty hyped for, and then going to London the entirety of the next day. So gonna see both sides of what should be the best of England. So I'm pretty excited. Already it's great that everyone speaks English. I mean, having lived in Madrid now for like 3 months, just understanding what people are talking about, and when I'm going to a store, when I'm going to a restaurant, being able to understand just immediately is like so much better. But yeah, I didn't have much time, obviously, so just had a quick dinner like you saw at a little pub, which is pretty cool. And that was called a hot pie, which I guess they're famous for. It's basically just like steak inside of like this pastry thing, so yeah. All right, so I left Bath, and right now I'm on my way kind of on a tour through the countryside, seeing some towns, and just arrived in this town called Castle Combe, which was named like the prettiest town in England. And you can just see here, it's just very picturesque, you know.
Owl wallpaper in the bedroom and
Things like that, yeah.
pictures of signed pictures of Daniel. Do you want to see the pictures of Daniel Radcliffe?
Can I see them?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Voldemort started to gather some followers, brought him over to the dark side. Anyone that stood up ended up dead. Your parents fought against him.
You guys are awesome.
£50.
Oh yeah. Thank you. Very cool.
Have you been to Laycock Abbey yet?
Okay, so that was a town called Lacock, which is where a lot of Harry Potter was filmed. And that house that those very nice people let me into is actually where, and I showed the scene where Harry Potter was a kid, and that's where his parents lived. And so it's called the Harry Potter house, which is pretty cool. And really rare that they just let me in there. But that was awesome. And so now I'm in this town called Avebury, and I'll be going to Stonehenge at the end as well. And these are both like ancient stone ruins that date back like almost 7,000 years ago, I think. And no one really knows why they're here and why they were placed in like these circles just in the countryside. But people have these theories where archaeologists actually have been able to measure, and this is like real, they've been able to measure like these electrical currents that go underground and connect all of these ancient stone structures like Stonehenge to Avebury and such. And it's shown that there's some sort of electrical field that connects between under the earth. And so these ancient civilizations, like thousands and thousands of years ago, must have been in tune. Otherwise, they wouldn't have built these here. And so it would have marked something. And so there's conspiracies that I don't know much about that I should look into, but that's really cool. And so, yeah. Honestly, I've been blessed with weather. All I could hope for was that it wouldn't rain because it's early March in the United Kingdom. And so it's been amazing weather, actually. But even here, the Romans came here all those years ago, and it was even ancient when they came, and they had no idea either why these stones were here. And so it just shows like how actual ancient this place is. And I'll see Stonehenge, which is much more famous, but these are actually even older. So there's definitely like interesting vibes here, and it's kind of famous for that as well. Because if you touch these rocks, like they give off like a certain current apparently, and people say it's like kind of BS, but for thousands of years, like, apparently there's the notion that there's like an electrical grid that works under the earth and it's connected by these rocks, and that's why they were placed here. And it makes sense because these people wouldn't just go through all the effort to build like an almost grid above the earth with these stones, especially since it was so hard to move such heavy things back then, for nothing. And so some people say that it can kind of like harness electricity if you know how to use it right, or lightning or something of that sort. But definitely interesting. They're called ley lines, and just cool history anyway. I think if anywhere was to be like a portal to some other dimension or some Stranger Things type vibe, it would definitely be here, because I mean, people have all these sightings about how they see birds just disappear right above the circles, or things like that. It just could just be a mythical mystery, but you never know.
Like a seat that you can sit on this stone here, and they say this is the portal, and so that's my photos. And then this happened yesterday. I don't know where this edging comes from, like this, it just happened on my camera yesterday, taking a picture of it, and I was like, why have I got this, like it's kind of like a circle, really bizarre.
I was just talking to this lady that worked at the local shop, like her experience here, and she definitely believes in it. It might just be placebo, but I feel like I just took like 3 espresso shots. It's like a little bit of a buzz, I don't know. But apparently a lot of people who live in this town and in the remaining areas are very pagan still, like way back how they used to be. And even at the church, she was saying the priest still believes in like meditation and the earth providing like energy and such. So it's like an interesting take on like combining these like, Neolithic times with like the modern times. It's interesting. So that was Stonehenge, obviously the world famous kind of Neolithic structures that were built thousands and thousands of years ago, and no one really knows why or how, but somehow they dragged those massive stones all the way from Wales to southwest of England. So it's pretty cool. So now I'm just back for the evening in Bath, and but just the English countryside is incredible, and I wanted to see both sides of the country, of course, like the countryside being today, and this being a bit of a smaller town as well, and then going into London tomorrow and seeing like obviously one of the biggest and most important cities in the world. So I want to feel like I've seen as much as I can. And so now I have the evening here in Bath again, and I already went around it a little bit this morning and last night, but there's definitely more to see. So I'm going to check that out and get dinner, and yeah, see what it's all about. So I just climbed on the outside of those Roman baths, and that was the video that you saw. Some guy came and like kicked me out, but it was totally worth it because I'm gonna be gone when it's even open, and it's already closed for the night. And so basically that is literally what the Romans came and settled. And when they built this town, it revolved around the fact that they had those baths there, which are the only hot springs in the entirety of the UK. So it's really cool. And just this entire town is really beautiful. Just the architecture is just incredible. Maybe I'm like just in a good mood, but don't think I've ever been to like a town / city that every single place has been like very picturesque and like beautiful. I mean, I'm just walking everywhere I go, and it's just like, I mean, you can see like every apartment, every building. It's like it all had the intention of trying to be aesthetic and have like a unique aspect to it, and it's all very uniform. It's really cool. I'm really blown away by just the combination of like beautiful gardens, beautiful buildings, cafes, bars, like restaurants. Like it seems to really have it all, and it's just so pretty everywhere you go. And it's a shame that I don't have like a full day here just to explore Bath. But yeah, it's like a very special place, and it's so underrated. You never hear anything about Bath, but yeah, I just wish I had more time to explore when everything is open, and really all I have is like at nighttime. So it's definitely cool to see things when it's darker though too. It adds like a different type of vibe to things. But yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I can see why there's famous writers from here, like especially Jane Austen, who honestly, I wouldn't be reading her stuff, but I was forced to read an AP Lang, lived here and wrote about here, but it's beautiful. All right, so I'm in London, just got off the train, and it's what, 8:30 a.m. and my train back is 10:30 p.m. And so I have like 14 hours to just walk around as much as I can in the city. I mean, I'm a big walker. I mean, last time I walked around a city last week was in Lisbon, and I walked 25 miles in one day seeing the city. So I'm gonna try to do something similar because there's a lot of things I want to see, but might use the tube if I have to. But right now I'm just heading to Notting Hill to get some breakfast and check that out, and then gonna head to my old apartment and see if I get any nostalgia, because I can't really picture it in my head right now, but we'll see. All right, so I just made my way from Notting Hill through to Kensington, and just got to give a quick Whole Foods review, because that was one of the nicest Whole Foods I've ever been in. I'm gonna give that one a 9.5 out of 10, and I think I've been to enough in my life to be quite the connoisseur of Whole Foods. But I've been like very impressed with the neighborhood so far. Everything has been so clean and nice, and every building is just so beautiful around here. And I know I'm just in Notting Hill and Kensington, which are like the wealthy areas, but that was my intention originally, to come to these spots because they're the nicest. So until I've been proven wrong, London has been great and it's beautiful so far. I could definitely see myself living in a place like this. But now I'm just like one block away from our old apartment that we used to live in for a couple years or so. And so I'm gonna see if I recognize anything. And I think it's gated, so we'll see if the guy lets me in. I'll try to convince him, but otherwise I guess we'll see. But yeah, now we're just in like South Kensington. That park that I walked through, which is I guess a little bit of an equivalent like Central Park to London, is just the Buckingham Gardens in the park. And that was the Buckingham Palace where the royalty lives. And I'm not really sure if they still live there, but yeah. All right, so saw the old apartment. That was pretty cool. In that little complex there, was able to kind of get through the gate. And yeah, honestly, like very vague memories. I think I just have a bad memory in general. But yeah, it was just cool to just go back to, I guess, where it all started for a little bit and where Aaron was born. But now I'm just gonna head a little bit east to where more of like the touristy things are, and going to see, get some lunch at this big store called Harrods, which is the spot apparently per my parents' rec. So yeah, we're gonna hit that and just go through Kensington on the way as well and see the rest of it. Forgot to mention the new whip I just bought, so just gonna hop in that real quick and head to where I need to be. It's obviously a joke, but I do find it more appealing here than a lot of the other countries I've been to in Europe so far. I think that it's just like a bit more classy and refined, and you can actually get both sides of life without having to compromise, I think, because you are in a massive city, obviously, but this feels like you're just, could be in a suburb, but you're steps away from so much action. So I think it's best of both worlds a little bit, except the weather here just sucks, so I can never do it. So that was Harrods, which is like the luxury department store in London, very famous. It was pretty cool. I didn't even see all. I mean, there were like 5 floors, but I tried the chocolate, which was my mom's recommendation, which is really incredible. But now I'm going to take the tube across the rest of the city east to this market called Borough Market and get lunch there. And apparently, because I did my research, I can get some raw milk as well, so that'll be the cherry on top. So I'll get lunch there, and then I'll start heading west again to see all the sights. Alright, so now we're in a much busier part of the city. I'm gonna cross the bridge real quick. I just took the tube. It was pretty easy to understand. I was pretty impressed by how quick and efficient it was. Of all cities, I think that might be one of the best I've ever tried. But now I'm just gonna explore a little bit, get some lunch at this big market that I was mentioning. And yeah, that monument that I just showed you, that's called the Great Fire Monument of London, something like that, which basically commemorates in 1600s, I think, when 2/3 of the city literally burned down, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, I'm just gonna cross the bridge now and see what's up. That was like my dream store, so caught quite a few little goods there, but wow. The market was cool, but I definitely could just like name it the cortisol maxing market, because that was just like insane. I think the hardest part about traveling, especially on day trips like this, where my train was literally at 8 a.m. and then my train back I booked for like 11 p.m. is like I'm literally out on my own the whole day, and you just have to keep moving, you just keep walking. There's no like place to stay, and it's very also hard when traveling to like control your diet. It's honestly my fault though. Like I could do better. I think I've had probably like 3 grams of protein this entire trip because I've just been going like so much bread and like pastries, and I want to try. It's like you have to find a balance between wanting to try like the local food of wherever you're going, which isn't very extensive really in England, but just in general, and then also trying to stay like healthy and not just being like, oh, I'm on vacation, I can do whatever, because like I'm kind of always on vacation right now. That was crazy. So this guy comes up to me, he's like, oh, can you take a picture of me? And I'm like, sure. And then we get to talking, and he's like asking me where I go to school, whatever. He's like, oh, I went to NYU. And I'm like, yeah, I go to Tulane. And he's like, oh, so like, what are you hoping to get into? I'm like, oh, I'm doing like banking this summer, whatever. And he's like, oh, I do the same thing. You know, do you know where you're working? And I'm like, yeah, Wells Fargo. And he's like, oh, I work in investment banking at the Wells Fargo office in New York City. And I was like, what? That's such a coincidence. Until we were talking about working at Wells Fargo and everything. And now it's like a new connection. It's just a crazy coincidence. Like sometimes you just meet people, and he was a pretty cool guy. So. All right, so we're getting a bit rowdy, it looks. This is like the Times Square of London, so let's see what it's all about. It's called Piccadilly Square. Ni hao. honestly, this stuff is not my vibe. I'm trying to get to Soho, and I had to go through Chinatown. Just too many people.
So she wanna go to Soho. I just took one sip, all them cars moving slow-mo. New supermodel babe, tryna keep it on.
Honestly, a bit of a soulless place, so I just caught my Louis V bags and dipped.
The house is so cold.
I've just been walking a little bit, and I wanted to save the, you know, like the best sights, the touristy type things for like after the sun went down, because there'd be like less crowds, but also I think it'll look cooler at night. And so I'm at Buckingham Palace now, and I'm gonna go see like Big Ben and the river, the London Eye, and things like that. And might grab dinner before that though. So yeah, we'll see. But it looks beautiful.
If
I've decided I've had enough of this carb loading, so I'm gonna go get a nice big steak. I do think England leaves much to be desired when it comes to their culinary scene. I do always kind of feel like I could have just made the same thing at home and just made it like better. But I think maybe I just haven't tried the best of the best, but I do try to put some research in when I'm going places, especially when I was in Bath. And it's not bad, it's just feels like it lacks a little bit of effort. Maybe, I mean, just compared to Spain or like Italy or other countries. But anyway, I'm standing in front of what's called the Winston Churchill War Rooms, which during World War II, he was in a bunker in this building, just literally mapping out war tactics in order to wipe out the Nazis. And so this is really cool. I wish I could have actually gone inside, but I just didn't have the time. But still, it's pretty impressive from outside. So this will be like the last stop until I just head to Big Ben and other spots, the whole scene there, before I head back to where I'm staying for the night, and then that'll be that. And I've been walking now just like almost 25 miles total, like 40,000 steps, no, 35,000 steps I think it was. But I mean, just walking everywhere, it's not like the most practical thing, I think. And I wouldn't do it if I was with anyone else, but I don't mind walking and I can do it quick. So I just do it when I'm on solo trips. But I mean, just the amount of time that you just spend in your own thoughts is crazy. You just kind of work out all, not like problems. I don't really have problems in life in the grand scheme of things compared to a lot of other people. But you have time with just your own thoughts and no other distractions, no other conversation with people. But then, you know, you also have the opportunity to meet people that you normally typically wouldn't have met. Because when you're on your own, I've noticed that people are much more inclined to talk to you and like share their own experiences and things like that, because they see that you're going out trying your best to like experience things. And so I've definitely had like so many cool conversations just even on this trip with random people, and I'm always asking them for recommendations and like what they think of this and what they think of that, and you just have cool conversations, but definitely a lot of time like spent on my own, and it can get like a bit, you know, like at times, especially at night. Like during the day I'm always kind of running around and seeing things, but then at night, you know, then you're going to bed and it's like you kind of just wish that you had more of like a social scene at least going on, like friends that you were with or something, and that's like left to be desired. But it has its pluses and minuses, but I do think that in the long run, looking back on these trips, I'll like be glad that I did it, because I'll be able to just like handle my own self, I guess.
How many summers did I run? Like 10. I got a show out in London. When? With a clock in London, near Big Ben. I have a watch face just like them. I mean, now I watch face like them. They make lyrics for who? Men. We make y'all come, then come again. Please write my father and tell him I found some fortune and fame. They're gonna try and behead me and speak on a family name. He said my knife's in my pocket.
So it's the next day, just had breakfast, and I'm about to head out for my flight. But just checking out what's called the Royal Crescent, which is like considered one of the coolest 18th century English architecture, and it's right here in Bath. So just looking at this during the daytime. I actually already saw it at night and put it in this video, but looks really cool during the day too.
Just like you said it would be. It's just like you said it would be.
I think any day I might just retire and go have a cup of tea and walk my dog in that little park and just be satisfied. All right, so back in the apartment. It's the next day. Yeah, definitely looking back, London was the most expensive city I've been to so far, but I do think it was worth it. You're just kind of paying for the experience, and you can't be like a penny pincher. It's almost like, my theory on it is, you're kind of telling yourself when you try to cheap out on things that that's all that you're worth, that's all that you need. And it's like, I think that there's a level to raising the expectations on yourself and telling yourself, yeah, I'm gonna make this back. Like, I'm confident in my ability to like spend a lot of money and not cheap out on things. And it's a high standard that you have for yourself, because I don't know, like when you're always trying to be cheap on certain things, I think sometimes it comes back and bites you in the butt later. So I don't know, that's one thing I try to keep in mind when I'm traveling also. And then just kind of on another note as well, like I felt like these past few weeks, like when I'm traveling, I have to keep in mind, like I do notice that a lot of people who travel a lot, and I never want to be someone like this, a lot of people who travel a lot, it's almost like they're like running from something. A lot of these people are like lost in life. Like sometimes I've kind of run into other like solo travelers who are like going around Europe or backpacking, going around the world, and it's like a lot of them are just like lost and they don't have a direction, they don't have real motivations in life, and so they use traveling and like exploration as a way of like hiding from reality. And that's like one thing that you have to kind of like separate. And when I've been traveling, I'm always trying to like purposely feel like the city and feel the culture, and then, you know, go back to being motivated. I think it's a fine line that people sometimes struggle to find, of like letting yourself experience these things, but then also staying true to like what works for you and not falling off like what's made you successful in the past. Because I've seen, like, even with what I was talking about with like eating, like diet and stuff like that, if I'm really dialed in when I'm in Madrid, and then I go on these trips and I'm just eating, you know, terribly, then I'm not gonna like make progress in my own goals. And so it's like, you have to find a balance between trying new things, and then, you know, there's a fine line between that and then just being undisciplined. And so yeah, it's just like things I try to keep in mind when I am traveling a lot, because there's just so much to experience, but you don't want to get caught up in like the wrong way of doing things. And I don't think I ever do. I'm definitely like someone who always takes full advantage of everything. Like I'm running around seeing everything, but also trying to take the time to like experience it in the most local way as well. But anyway, that was just random things I was thinking about. But yeah, I'll definitely make another one for my next trip, which will be in Germany and Austria. So that should be pretty fun. But yeah, hopefully I got better at this. This was like kind of more fun to make actually. So yeah, peace.